The restrictions in Jammu and Kashmir are being eased further and things slowly seem to be normalizing there. Now, after the primary schools reopened on Monday, middle schools in the valley have reopened today. The state administration claims that 75% of the landline services have been restored. Public transport is operational and 12 of the 22 districts are functioning normally. Let me go across to my colleague Farid, joining me live with further updates on this. Farid, help us understand the ground situation. Slowly and steadily, things are coming back to normalcy. The primary school now, middle schools are also opening up. But how is the situation currently on ground for the people?
Well, there are several factors that define normalcy. I mean, one of them obviously is traffic movement. That's happening, but then other things, you talk of markets that they're still closed, you talk of communication, very basic communication in the form of landlines which are working. And that too, those landlines which are there in certain pockets of the Srinagar city, and also if you talk of North and South Kashmir, certain areas have landline services. Lal Chowk, the commercial hub, which also has most of the media establishments, you have local press there. Landline services are not working. Couple of days back, for 2 or 3 hours, landline services started, but again they were snapped. So quite clearly, it seems to be a dynamic case of taking decisions as the situation comes. It's not a case where they are taking decisions for tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It's just that how the situation pans out this morning, and then on that they'll decide on the future course of action. As far as the situation is concerned, there's a kind of a status quo that we are seeing. You talk of old Srinagar city, slightly restrictions have been eased, but still, if you talk of sensitive pockets, there is a huge presence of security forces. In the evening, again, there are sporadic incidents of violence, old city, uptown, and some other areas, but nothing major, no loss of life, no major incident, and that's probably the saving grace. As far as people are concerned, they don't know what's going to happen next. They're just reacting to the situation. As I said, shops are shut. Public transport is missing. Public transport, if you can call it buses, auto rickshaws, they are not flying. People are coming out in their private vehicles. Again, they're trying to get whatever they can. Still, there is a sense that they do not know what's going to happen next, so they're stocking essentials, and that process has been ongoing from the last 10-15 days. Government offices have been opened. Attendance is there, but again, it is about communication. Mobile phones is the problem. In fact, we spoke to several HODs. They said that they cannot contact their employees, and whoever is coming is welcome, but they cannot really connect to cross-section of employees. So that is again the other issue. The government did come out yesterday and said that middle schools will be opened. But the fact of the matter is that even primary schools, when they were opened, they were deserted, because there is still a sense of confidence that is missing in the parents. They cannot take the risk. I mean, you won't blame it on the parents. First priority is security of their kids, their wards, and that is something that obviously in the present security scenario is missing. So it will take some time for that to be instilled, and for that the administration needs to do a lot more. It's very easy to come out and say that schools will be open, but then it is also about the fact for the school administration as well. They need to really ensure that the kids are safe. There is no incident as they come in or go out of the school. So all these factors will govern how the schools will behave, or how the schools will open, or whether they'll open or not. But administration on their side is saying that they're taking steps to normalize the situation. But as I said, still certain factors that are ensuring that the unease is there, and that obviously is keeping the people in their homes, and probably schools is also something that is coming in that domain. Back to you.
All right, so there is a certain degree of unease. Of course, parents who are sending their kids to school, there is a lot of confidence that still needs to be instilled. But also, Farid, if you can give us an overall perspective as to the situation in the valley. We also understand in the morning there was an encounter that had taken place in Baramulla as well. Now, keeping in mind that there are certain restrictions and security concerns still in place, we are looking at an incident that has taken place in Baramulla, where I think one of the terrorists was killed in the encounter. Can you take us through the details of that as well?
Yes, that's right. There was an encounter this morning in Baramulla, and that is a situation that has happened after probably last 15-20 days or more, about law and order, about the fact the situation should remain under control. But it seems now the focus is back also on taking or going ahead with anti-insurgency operations. If you talk about the Baramulla operation, one SPO of the J&K police has been killed, one sub-inspector has been injured, and one militant who has an affiliation with the Lashkar-e-Toiba has been killed in this encounter. Complete communication blackout is ensuring that we also don't know what's happening in other districts. I have my stringers who are there in various districts. They have been completely incommunicado. We have not been able to establish contact with them because there is no communication. So that is obviously something that is restricting a flow of news for us as well. And in fact, the only source here right now where I'm standing, this is the official media center, if I can call it. There is a briefing of the government spokesperson every now and then, especially in the evenings, and they tell us what exactly is happening. So that is the only version that is available to us. Unofficially, we are not getting a lot of info flow into Srinagar or out of Srinagar. So that really is the issue. But yes, encounter happened, and that is also an indication that slowly the authorities are now moving towards a situation where they'll focus on anti-insurgency operations as well. For some time, they were suspended. We talk of last 15-20 days, they were suspended. But now this is an indication that while law and order will remain a priority, but anti-insurgency operations will also continue and probably have been kick-started with this operation. So that really is the latest. But as you rightly said, there is still unease. Public transport missing from the streets. But yes, if normalcy is related to movement of traffic, yes, that is pretty much there. Public transport is missing, but people are coming out in their vehicles, at least in the uptown area from Lal Chowk to the civil lines. That is a route that has been opened from the last many days. Restrictions have been completely removed from there. But as I said, normalcy, full normalcy, complete normalcy, we're still some distance away from that. And people still, common man still has some fears, and that is something that is keeping him away from routine. One important aspect for sure is communication. No mobile phones, no internet, and obviously, as you know, in today's day and life, a lot depends on communication, especially internet, which is a backbone of trade and almost everything in the modern day life. Back to you.
But also, Fareed, 2 days back, we saw how the communication was restored in some areas. The landline services were restored and it was again snapped. What is the current situation, and to what extent is the authorities saying when can we expect the communication to be restored? Because that's the lifeline. People still are reeling under the fact that they're not able to communicate freely. So when can we expect the communication lines to be sorted, and the fact that in certain areas the lines are still being snapped?
Communication remains the biggest issue. There was a lot of pressure on the government, and finally there was some relief for the common man here as landline was restored in pockets in certain areas which over a period of time remained peaceful. There were no major incidents of violence. You talk of uptown Srinagar, you talk of areas like Haidarpura, Barzulla, or even if you talk of Rajbagh, area where I am right now, it's mostly a VIP area. So in these areas, landline has been restored. But the crucial part here is that if you talk of Lal Chowk, which is the commercial hub, you talk of local press, you talk of media establishments, in that area, the landline services have not been activated. As I said, 2 days back, for a couple of hours, landline started to work, but after that, absolute silence as far as landlines are concerned. So it quite clearly is a case where it seems that there is a proper monitoring mechanism, and they start landline services in certain areas. They monitor how it is going. Probably they feel that there is a certain flow of information that could be detrimental to the law and order situation, and they immediately snap those landlines. So quite clearly the sense of confidence as far as authorities are also concerned depends on how the situation pans out on the ground, and that is obviously something that is ensuring that landlines are not working everywhere, and that really is the issue. People are demanding that at least landline services in all the areas should be started so that they can get in touch with their kith and kin. Let me tell you, there are still people who are completely disconnected, though, from the last some time because of these landlines working. People are going to other areas where landlines are working. They're trying to connect to their kith and kin, trying to know about their well-being. But again, this is the biggest issue that people are facing. Common man, media people, everyone is really getting a lot of disturbance in their routine work because of the missing of communication, and that is something the authorities will have to prioritize.
All right.
Communication has to be back in one way or the other, starting from landlines to mobile phones, and that probably will be the first indicator what will happen post that if people react well to that and we do not have any violence, and that could be the first step towards complete normalcy. But as of now, communication lines down and an uneasy calm prevails in the Kashmir Valley. Back to you.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, Farid. Many thanks for joining us and bringing us the ground reality there in the valley.